in this video, I wanted to share with you 4 lessons that I've learned from witnessing over 20 near-death experiences. Now, I'm an emergency room nurse, so I've seen people dying, and going back to life. Now, there are so many things to discover when you are in this setting where you see people fighting for their lives. When they go and when they come back, the first impressions, the first words they say. And I wanted to share with you 4 lessons that I've learned. And if this is your first time on this channel, I'm Josie Grouse. I'm a professional psychic medium and a registered nurse. And here on this channel, I share my spiritual wisdom. So when I see people dying, for me, it's always about a spiritual experience. I want to look into their soul's journey, not so much on what's happening with the body. I want to see what is the lesson behind that. There's always a lesson. When someone's near-death experience happens, it's there to teach them something. It's there for them to discover something or have like a spiritual realization. This is a soul thing. And that's what I'm interested in. So I always use a moment to ask the person, and they're always willingly share their near-death experiences, what they've seen, what they felt. The first thing I noticed amongst almost every near-death experience, is that it's not exactly what they thought it would be. Let's say this one patient had a heart attack, and his heart attack was just sudden. Thankfully, he recovered, but his heart stopped for about 2 minutes. And while he was resuscitated, he left his body for 2 minutes. When he came back, I asked him, so what did you see? Who did you see? And I'm so disappointed, Josie. I'm so disappointed because I'm God's man. You know, I love Jesus. I am devoted. I'm a devoted Christian. And when I left the body, I didn't see no Jesus. Like, why? This is like disappointing. And he said, I went into a room. So I saw a room just like this room. And it was filled with people. And people were friendly. They were hugging each other. They were kissing. Some people were making love. It was just like such an interesting near-death experience that he had. But he was standing there and just looking for any evidence of Jesus. And there wasn't any. And I asked, what is the lesson? What do you think you've learned from this trip out of your body? And he said, you know, it felt so natural not to have a body. It wasn't like, oh, I was a ghost and I couldn't find my way. It was like, my gosh, I'm here and I'm everywhere. That was his knowing. And then I asked, so what do you think? You will see Jesus at some point in time? And he said, yes. I wasn't ready for Jesus. I wasn't quite ready. That's why I was waiting and I was waiting. I was in this room, but then I was sent right back into the body. But he said everything happened so quickly. I was fully conscious. Like I could look at people around me and know these are, people, and see their actions. So he wasn't like dreaming or sleeping. He was himself in that experience. Sometimes you may not see who do you think will be waiting for you on the other side. And that's for different reasons. For people who cross, right, completely and they never come back. We don't really know how this experience goes for them. But for many people, when they leave their bodies, they're still connected. They have a connection. Their subtle body is still connected to the physical reality. So they may be out of their sort of physical limitation, but they can still see, let's say, the room, or they can see outside. They can look and float in the area around their body, so they can still be connected with it, but at the same time free, in this free awareness. So another thing that happens when you disconnect from the body, but you have not crossed over yet, you may have a connection with your soul group. You may see people, your soul mates, right? People you are reincarnating with in each of your lifetimes. You will see them, and they may have some kind of energetic connection or a story to tell you. And you'll see them hugging or kissing, holding babies. This is kind of your idea of what is truly going on, but you are never alone. So for him, it was like looking at a whole bunch of people in a room. This room wasn't permanent, right? It wasn't like a real place somewhere. So he saw them, but then he was just taken back into the body. So sometimes who you see may not be exactly who do you expect to see. Another lesson that I've learned is that once you have a near-death experience, there is no physical pain. Some patients, they suffer so much. They have excruciating pain. It could be in an accident. They could have like a heart attack, which is like extremely painful. But once they leave, sort of that connection with physical body becomes less intense. When they leave the body, they have no pain. Like they feel no pain. They're no longer triggered by the body's nervous system. Now, one of my patients had an aneurysm, and the aneurysm is a very dangerous thing. It can kill a person very quickly. And somehow he survived. It was really like very small percentage that with his condition he would ever survive, but he ended up surviving. But he was in a coma for about a week or so, and when he came out of the coma, that's after the surgery, after all of the procedures were done, I asked him, like, how did you feel? Like, where were you? Do you still feel the pain in the body, or it was just somewhere else? Did you just hang out with your soul group someplace in the astral world, or you were actually here in this room present with your loved ones? And he said he couldn't remember exactly where he was, but he said, I was free from pain. It's like sometimes I would see the body, so he wasn't exactly in the body, but he could see his body, and it was a separate entity. Like his body wasn't him. There was a point of him knowing he wasn't his body. And he said, I felt no pain. I was so just peaceful. I was so at peace, in perfect harmony, whether you call it state of love, but I was in the place where I wasn't hurting anywhere. And I wasn't even thinking about pain. There was not even a concept of pain. This is reported by many people when they have a short-lived like near-death experience, when they could have like a week in coma. They would come back and say, it was like, great, I had no pain, I was fully conscious, but I wasn't experiencing the symptoms of the body. Once they are back in the body, slowly they begin to feel the heaviness of the body. They would feel like, oh, I need to move my arm, or, oh, that leg is just so heavy. And it takes a little bit of time for them to adjust to the presence, to the physical world, but then they will always remember that feeling of being free from pain. Another thing that I've learned from near-death experiences is that in many cases, people are aware that they have a choice. Once they sort of depart from their physical world, they almost have a choice. They have a choice whether to come back into the physical dimension. At that time, they're not really thinking about their family, their loved ones, their kids, their parents. Like somehow they have a bigger picture in mind. They don't have like emotional connection to the physical world anymore, because they're aware they have such a depth, a profound realization of their being. And when they begin to feel, I am very close, I will have to be taken back into the body, they don't want to. They don't want to go back into the body for many reasons. Sometimes the body is sick, the body is broken, the body is like not in the best shape, but they have not completed their life's journey. And they're like, oh man, can I stay here for a little while? But they feel they may have an angel or a guide appearing, but that's rare. That's literally maybe like 1 or 2 cases amongst all the others that I've seen. Most of the time it's just they're knowing, I just have to go back to the body. I'm not done. I've not finished my work, so I had to go back to the body. They resist. So they don't really want to go back. They don't want to go into this reality. In the afterlife, wherever the spirit goes, there is a deeper sense of knowing. Something like telepathy. You just understand things and you see cause and effect of things pretty quickly. So for spirits who have this realization, right, the bigger reality, so what you call the spirit world, and then the very limited physical body with all of the complexities, with mortality, with such painful, sometimes suffering and pain, it's difficult to go back into the body, but they feel like I have to go back. And the moments when they realize they have to go back, they become aware of people like, oh wow, I have kids, right? Of course, let's say I have pets, I need to go back to earth. And they want to go back. Now, in this case, they want to go back. Something takes them into the body, this force of life just snaps them back into the body, and they feel, I have to, this is it. I have no doubts. There's always a moment of resistance when they're trying to fight their reality. I just like, no, I don't want to go back. And another thing that I've learned from near-death experiences, it changes people, and it changes people forever. People are not the same when they go through these extreme cases of near-death experiences. Any near-death experience will transform you. I'm not saying to be transformed you need a near-death experience, but people who do sign up for this kind of event, they need it. Especially people who have sudden deaths, heart attacks. People who have heart attacks, maybe feeling fine and collapse. Strokes, like severe things that can threaten you, and they're serious. People are shaken to the core and they leave their body. So they have to be put into a place where they have to reconsider everything, their priorities. So when they come back, maybe before they were focused on their career, they were focused on things that like paying off the mortgage, doing all the right things for the right reasons, but then they change and they want to spend more time with people they love. They want to be kinder. They want to give more. They want to be of service to humanity. Like something in them changes. There is no more obsession with self. The ego doesn't have a strong grip on that person after the near-death experience, because now you see that what the ego is and how ego is very restricting. It prevents you from connecting to this realm of all possibilities, right? All love. This is an obstacle to being, seeing, experiencing everything. So that's what happens. It transforms people. And if you speak to a person who's been on the other side and came back, even in their presence, there's something about the person. When you are speaking with them, they are different, like their energy changes. All of a sudden, there's something very wise about them. And when you speak with them, you are transformed as well. That's the power of all of these near-death experiences. So here you go. I hope this served you. Let me know if you know someone maybe, or yourself, that you had a near-death experience. And what have you learned? Let me know. Much love. I'll see you in the next one.